The Ranch is my favorite series on Netflix. I binge watch it every time a new part is released, and now this last part that was released, oh my goodness! If you have not watched The Ranch, just skip this video. Do not continue watching because I do not want to spoil it for anybody else. So, as you know, The Ranch, the final theory, who shot who? Oh my goodness. Glenn, my boyfriend, seems to think that it's Rooster. I seem to think it's Mary. And I found this website that has a theory of who shot who, and I want to share with you guys. So, who do you think shot Nick at the end? So, a quick recap. The Ranch Part 7 premiered on Netflix on Friday, September 13th, and it ended with a bang. Literally, spoilers ahead for Part 7. In the final, Abby tells Cole, Bo, and Luke that Nick has returned to town after bumping into Nick and Mary in town earlier that day. She knows that it will set things off, but she does it anyway. And she's right. In order, Bo, Luke, and Cole leave the house to pay Nick a visit. In the final shot of the season, Nick enters his mobile home and says something like, "What are you doing here?" And then there's a gunshot. And roll the credits. So, what do you think? Who do you think pulled that trigger? Me personally, like I said before, I think it was Mary. I think it was Mary. Now it's time for the suspects. This is an article written by Bryce Olin. I'm going to put him right here, so all credit is to him. And I'm just going to be reading what he has to say and give my honest opinion on how I feel. So suspect number 1 is obviously Bo. He was the first to leave the house. He had a gun, and he could have easily made it to Nick's trailer before anyone else. With all the anger over Rooster's death, Bo had the motive to kill Nick, and I think that's exactly what the show wants us to believe. Personally, I don't think it was Bo. It seems too easy, and it seems like a much too dark of a turn for this character. I don't really want Bo to kill anyone, even if some viewers feel like it's justified. And that's what Bryce had said. So I have to say I agree with Bryce in this article because Bo left the house hot-headed. He got the gun, and everybody thought he was headed Nick's, and then he's going to go kill Nick. But I think that's what the series wants us to think. I don't think Bo's going to be the one that's pulling the trigger. I don't think he's the one that made it to the trailer first. I think something happened, and it's going to show that Bo got delayed, or he realized that was a bad idea, and he went to go to Maggie's bar to cool down. I don't know, but I just don't feel like it could have been Bo. I mean, it may have been, but I just don't feel like Bo could have done this. So, the second suspect is Mary. The second most likely person to kill Nick is obviously Mary. We don't know anything about what happened between Mary and Nick seeing Abby at the pharmacy and when Nick was presumably shot. Mary had a rough go of things as of the late, and it's possible Nick's return had caused her to do something crazy. Pretty much, yeah, I agree. I do agree Mary is a suspect. I personally think that Mary is the one that done it because she's got addicted to drugs. She got addicted to heroin, and it's all because of Nick. Nick is the one that is the main reason why Rooster's gone. And as we've seen in the episode before Rooster just completely vanished and they found his motorcycle over the cliff, Nick was threatening Rooster, and because Rooster was seeing Mary. So Mary is the root of the problem and why Nick and Rooster and all this happens. So I'm really thinking Mary is the one that is going to kill Nick. And we're going to see that when we come back. We're just going to see him pulling up and her sitting there, and he's going to be like, "What are you doing here?" And they are going to come to the point where they say that they had a fight and she left him or something, and then she came back. I think it's Mary. I do. My personal opinion, I think Mary is the one that kills Nick. So moving on, Nick, he's a suspect as well. But the article says this is less likely, but it's possible. Could Nick have been the one to pull a gun on an intruder? I don't know why the show would go this way, but again, it's possible. Will Mary or one of the Bennetts be found dead in Nick's trailer? Now, my opinion on this part of the article is it's possible. It's really, really possible because we're at the very end of this series. Like, this is it. This is the last season, part 8 of The Ranch. So, could it go for a crazy turn and one of the main characters get killed by Nick? Or, I don't know. There's so many things that they could do. Like, do you think that they're going to do that and make, like, maybe Bo gets killed, or maybe, Mary gets killed? But I don't know. There's a good chance that Nick is the killer. So I am after this, reading this, I kind of agree now, and I'm kind of like, okay, it's Mary or it's Nick. But then you have to think, why would he be saying, hey, what are you doing here, to Mary? Because she supposedly lives with him. He's got her hooked on heroin now and all this stuff. So, I don't know. I don't think that he's going to kill Mary. And I don't think if Nick is the killer, it's not going to be Mary, because unless him and Mary had a fight after the pharmacy, because you could see he was wanting to leave and she was wanting to talk to Abby, and so maybe there's a good chance Nick could kill Mary, or Nick could kill Bo, or Nick could kill. We just don't know. It's crazy. I don't know who it could be. I'm really torn right now. So, moving on to suspect Rooster. The article says, I don't think this is very likely at all. I don't think Rooster will ever appear in another episode of The Ranch, but it's interesting that the writers would take the story in this direction, with Nick's return and the lack of Rooster's body. So, yeah, you have to think about it that way too. We never seen Rooster's body. They left it open where he could come back anytime. And, I mean, they could make it where he faked his own death, or he really did have a wreck, but he didn't die. I don't know. So there's a good chance, like, you know, my boyfriend Glenn, he seems to think it's Rooster. So I don't know. But you have to also think, too, that Danny, the character of Rooster, actually got in some trouble, and will he legally be able to return back? I don't know. So that's another thing. So moving on to Heather. She is also a suspect. The article says, I don't think Mary would necessarily kill Nick, but her daughter might too, to keep Nick out of their lives. And Heather looked like, I agree, she looked like she was at the point where she was just done. She hated Nick. Her mom was getting worse. Her mom was on drugs really bad, and she hated seeing her mom go through this. And she was trying to help her mom, and her mom kept going back to Nick, and she just kept using drugs, and Nick is the source of the drugs now for her. So, yeah, Heather could be, she's a likely suspect as well. Now, moving on to the non-suspects. The article says, because we didn't see much in the trailer, it's going to be tough to rule out a few of the characters based on the final scene. I think we can definitely rule out a few, though. And the non-suspect is Colt. Colt was the last to leave the Bennett house. There's no way he beat Bo or Luke to the trailer, unless all three of them were waiting for Nick when he got there. I'm guessing he has nothing to do with Nick's death, although he might have liked to be. So, yeah, I see, that makes you think, too. Like, this article is really making me think and, like, changing my mind. It's changing my opinion on who kills who. Like, what if Colt and Luke and Bo is all sitting there and he's like, hey, what are you all doing here? But he said, what are you doing here? He didn't say you all. So, I don't know. Moving on to Luke. He is also a non-suspect. And the article says, my reasoning for this is the same as Colt. There's no way he beat Bo to the trailer. And I don't think they met up and waited for Nick. That just doesn't really make sense. So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense, but it could. It could very well make sense, too. So, I don't know. And then, also, the non-suspects is Abby and Joanne. We know it wasn't Abby or Joanne. That's it. So, yeah, we know it's not Abby and Joanne. Like, there's no way. So, the theory in this article says, I have a few thoughts who actually pulled the trigger in Nick's trailer. It's not Bo again. That's too easy. And I don't think it's Nick, because that would be quite the twist. Instead, I have another suspect in mind. Maggie. This article suspects Maggie to be the killer. Mysteriously, Maggie, not part in 7. She's not in it at all in part 7. We didn't even see her or nothing. I think she's on the phone one time with Colt. I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah, we didn't see her none. The show did announce that she was leaving, which makes me think there's a chance she'll return in part 8. If it's true and she does return, it's possible that it will be with her holding the gun as Bo, Luke, and Colt arrive at Nick's trailer. I don't know if Maggie has it in her, but it's possible. What do you think happened in Nick's trailer? Who do you think pulled the trigger? Let us know your theories in the comments below. So, my honest theory is that, I don't know if it could be Bo and Colt and Luke coming up on Maggie killing Nick. Do you think that could happen? Because we didn't see Maggie at all. And I can't remember, like, it's all just after reading everything and it's all colliding together. I can't remember if Colt even talked. I think he did. I think Maggie called in the episode during when Joanne and Bo got married. I think she did. Pretty sure she did. So that's the only time we heard Maggie at all. It makes you really think. Like, this article is really, like, twisting my brain right now because I'm like, I don't know who's the killer. And we had to wait a whole year to find out who pulls this trigger. So some of the comments I'm going to read. Billy Walker, he says, I think Nick kills Bo in a fight over the gun. That would be horrible. That would be so horrible. I hope not. Wow, that would be absolutely horrible. I'm looking for more release date. So the release date, we don't know exactly when Part 8 will be released on Netflix, but the final season was announced. Ashton Kutcher shared information that Part 7 will be released in Netflix in 2019, which is what we watched at the cliffhanger they left us at. And he also said Part 8 will be released on Netflix in 2020. So hopefully it's like in February, right when it turns 2020. I don't think so, but hopefully, you know. Oh my goodness. So comment below. Let me know what you think. And right now I am in between it being Mary and Maggie. Those are my two. I really think, it might be Maggie now. I don't know. Comment below. Let me know. And if you like seeing these videos, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe so you get notifications when I drop more videos like this. And as always, guys, I'll see you in my next video.